Today is Tuesday, May 16th, 2017, and today we got to talk about this whole Trump situation that's going on all over the news. I just got done watching NBC Nightly News. They're making out to be this big crisis. Now, what I'm talking about, if you're not familiar, is this whole kerfuffle with the leaks that were allegedly given to the Russians about some highly classified information and the fallout from it and a bunch of different stories that have come about. Now, I just want to back up a little bit and say where it came from originally. Now, remember this whole thing about Trump meeting with the Russians? But before I even get down the rabbit hole of what happened, I just want to say this whole thing about the Russians is really getting old at this point. This whole Boris and Natasha, Ivan Drago, if he dies, he dies. This whole thing is really getting old. And I'm going to explain why it's getting old after I get done telling you the details of this new story. Now, the story originally came in the Washington Post where they said that Trump revealed highly classified information to the Russians. Then it became this whole thing about going towards Trump's people and his staff and trying to get a real idea of what happened. McMaster came out and said that he did not reveal anything that's actually classified. He did not reveal anything that was not previously known. But then there have been articles that said that McMaster's response was kind of like a lawyer's response because he did not actually address what the Washington Post addressed. What the Washington Post did was give information that was not information. You understand? They didn't really say anything about any real classified information because there was none given. Now the New York Times is trying to blame Israel for the so-called leaks of classified information. Amazing how they're not going to be labeled anti-Semitic right away, because imagine if anybody on the right was doing that, or if anybody that was considered an ally of the right was to do that, like David Duke, if he was to come out and say, oh, Israel, they're to blame for the so-called leaks. Imagine how quickly they will be labeled as anti-Semitic. You see how many games they play? It's really kind of crazy political games. And that's what's going on here with this whole situation. But I digress. All that Trump did, the whole thing is centered around him giving out a city of interest in the Middle East that was a source of information. That's it. Right? So basically somebody or a source or people in that city gave information about some aviation threat, but the actual aviation threat was not given and the person was not given. It was a simple matter of the city itself was given. And that is all that I've been able to find. And I found that on a National Review, which is like a neocon website, and not really favorable towards Trump. And I also just saw it on NBC. So I pretty much trust that info because NBC obviously is not in the corner of Trump. Neither is the NRO, neither are neoconservatives. I'll get into that right now. This whole thing, in my opinion, is a joint effort between the Democrats and neocons colluding to bring down Donald Trump, to get him out of office, to attack everybody in the staff. You're attacking Sean Spicer, he gets the worst of it. Then you attack anybody else that comes in his place. You attack McMaster. You attack Flynn. You were attacking Comey before Comey was on your side of the neocons and Democrats. And then when Trump fires him, after you said that he was not on your side, basically, and threw him under the bus, now Trump is a bad guy because Comey was investigating Trump. But if Comey was a bad guy and you can't trust him, I'm talking to you, Maxine Waters. If he's all this, that, and the third, then what's the problem with firing him? If you can't trust him, then why would you trust him to investigate Trump or Trump's administration? And also, Comey said that he was not investigating Donald Trump. He may have been investigating the whole campaign on both sides to see if there was any Russian collusion, but he was not investigating Trump. That doesn't even really matter, because if you say you don't trust him, if he cannot be trusted, if you are a Democrat, then why is it a big deal when he gets fired? It should be a big deal in a positive way. You're saying, okay, we're getting some kind of joint effort, some kind of bipartisanship, but you're looking at it like he's a snake because he's trying to fire a guy that is, air quotes, investigating him. But Comey is just one person. The FBI is an organization of many people. So if you fire James Comey, the investigation does not cease. Then they're saying that there's a memo floating around. Of course, there's no actual memo. There's no real, there's no real physical document that's been presented to anybody. But now they're saying there's a memo that says, or from Comey, that says that Trump asked him to stop investigating Michael Flynn. But then once you actually get into the story, the air quotes memo says that Trump said, I wish you would let this go after Michael Flynn had got fired. So the way they said it at first was, okay, I want you, Trump that is, I want you to stop investigating Michael Flynn because I want him to stay on. That's the way it's framed. But the reality is Flynn had already been fired. So if he asked him to stop it, which from what I've heard, he did not ask to stop. He was saying, I wish you could let it go. That doesn't mean stop it. That means I wish you could, meaning it'd be good, but I'm not ordering you to stop it. But even if he did order it to be stopped, Michael Flynn had already been fired. So it wouldn't have made a difference, really. And this whole Russia thing is nothing. It's a nothing burger. What he revealed to the Russians was not illegal. He can do that if he wants to do it. If you're the president, you can talk to foreign nations and try to come to some kind of resolution, some kind of something to defeat terrorism. That's what I wanted him to do from the beginning, was work with the Russians, Ukrainians, or whoever else all over the world and work as a team to be able to defeat terrorism. That's part of the reason why I voted for him. So I don't see why that's a bad thing, what he's doing. It's the mainstream media colluding with Democrats and neocons to form like Voltron and get Trump out of there. What I think they want to do, I think what they want to do is to get Trump out by any means necessary and then put Mike Pence in there, let him run it. Then, you know, I like Mike Pence, nothing against Mike Pence, but Mike Pence is not Donald Trump. Mike Pence is not going to be strong like Donald Trump is to be able to fight any kind of neoconservatism or liberalism that comes his way. He'll just be a cog in the machine of Washington, D.C. The swamp will not be drained if you get Trump out of there. You know, Trump is having a hard time because of all people that are trying to oppose him on all sides of the fence. You're talking about the media, even some of Fox News, even some of the conservative air quotes media is against him. But then you got all the liberal media, you got all the Democrats, and you got some Republicans. You got people in the White House, people in his staff leaking stuff. People are saying, well, he should just be able to hire people that are going to be trustworthy, this, that, and the third. Well, easier said than done. You're talking about Washington, D.C. and the jobs that exist there. You don't want to get a pure novice with no information, with no ability to be able to handle their job. At the same time, you don't want to get an experienced veteran that is a pure rat. But if you also get a novice, you don't want to get a novice that may be influenced by people that are your opposition. So it's not as easy as it seems to be able to drain that swamp. But I'll tell you one thing for certain and one thing for sure. If Trump is kicked out, then you will not be able to drain the swamp. And that's pretty much what it is. So anybody out there talking about, oh, I regret my decision, I regret my vote, you just impatient. You just got to take a breather, give him a little bit more time to get these things done. This whole thing with Russia that came out today is nothing because there was no real classified information that was released. If you want to talk about real classified info that's released and real mishandling the information, look no further than Hillary Clinton. Those of you who say you should have voted for Hillary Clinton, I ask you why. She had a private email server in her house that had serious classified documents on it while she was Secretary of State. Then some of the emails found its way onto a pervert, Anthony Weiner's computer, where he may have had inappropriate messages between him and the underage young girl. So you tell me, is Trump worse than Hillary Clinton when it comes to so-called classified information? Did Trump have a private email server in his house? Did Trump allow emails that were exchanged between him and people that are in high levels of government to wind up on a rando's computer? Is that what he did? He didn't do it, but we're seeing the unequal media treatment of it. The same thing happened during the Obama administration to a higher degree. There's even been reports that some things that the Obama administration released have caused people to die. But we don't hear anything about that. When Obama was in office, it was all rainbows and sunshine from the mainstream media. And the reason why is because he was their guy, right? He was a tool to be used by the elite. He was a tool to be used by the liberal media. He was a tool to be used by the globalists to be able to push their agenda. But now you got a guy in there that wants to erase all that. He wants to abolish the Church of Al Gore, also known as climate change. He wants to do a lot of things that will help Americans, not the globalists, and the globalists are upset. So all the globalist assets and their puppets are coming together, forming like Voltron to be able to take Trump out. That's pretty much what I think. Some of you may not agree, but if you disagree, let me know in the box below. That's pretty much all I got to say. So what do you think? Do you think this whole situation with Russia and the so-called classified information is much ado about nothing? As I close here, I want to say this last thing. Trump has the right to be able to reveal so-called classified information if it makes sense or if he wants to do it. The information that he released was not anything of any kind of major consequence. That is really the bottom line here. But regardless of the actual facts, do you think he was wrong for doing it? Or do you think that I'm right? Am I asserting that he had the right to do it? It's a big nothing burger. You got a lot of collusion going on from inside the White House, outside the White House, the left, right, center, everybody trying to come against Trump to get him out, to be able to put who they want in there so they can control him like a puppet. Whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.